welcome to MysteryHQ. Today we are going to take a look at 20 weapons and how tier 4 Pack-a-Punch benefits each one. If you find this video interesting, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, but now without any further ado, let's jump straight in. I think we should start with the Wonder Weapon Pack-a-Punch 4 abilities, because these are probably the most interesting ones. The ray gun gets a greatly increased fire rate. It basically doubles the fire rate, and with double taps and double time augment, that can go up even further. This makes the ray gun an absolute monster to use, but of course the ammo would be quite an issue. The ray gun Mark II gets a much larger ammo capacity. It goes from 42 in the mag and 201 in the reserve, up to 63 in the mag and 378 in the reserve. And if you are using the Pack Mule augment on Mule Kick, that reserve ammo can go higher than 400. So no unique firing effect, just the increased damage paired with more ammo. Then we have the Necrofluid Gauntlet, which looks like it doesn't gain any secret buff, but after some testing, it seems like the explosion effect gets a massive damage boost modifier. Only 4 bolt detonations can kill a bear on a higher round, which would also explain why it was so effective against Vaitharion when I completed the Ashes Easter egg for the hard mode Dark of Scoring card without using the card. Now let's take a look at the LGM1, and it's quite interesting because a lot of players have reported different extra buffs. But what I consistently saw was a huge boost to armor damage. A single clip could reveal a crit spot on Caltaris, and just a few shots can kill Oscar very quickly. So even though some players said there's a boost to fire rate and a larger AoE, all of those effects are just a side effect of the increased armor damage. Okay, next is the Blundergat, and this one gets a 3 times magazine size increase, giving it a 6 round shot instead of only 2. And obviously it becomes also much stronger. Unfortunately, the upgraded version, the Thundergat, doesn't seem to have any unique Pack-a-Punch 4 abilities, but to be fair, the charge shot already one-shot zombies forever. And similar to the Thundergat, the Jotun Star doesn't seem to get any special ability beyond the normal damage boost that comes with Pack-a-Punch tier 4. This still needs a bit more testing, but what I can definitely say, it looks amazing with the purple flames, the lighting and the purple rune camo. Okay, now let's go over the normal weapons, but first I want to put out a quick disclaimer. As you will see, some weapon abilities are tied to specific attachments. And because there are so many weapons and so many attachments in the game, it feels almost impossible to test absolutely everything. That's also bad and good. Bad as there might be so many other hidden abilities that we don't know of. Good as we have more things to test. Okay, so I think we should start now with the assault rifles. And first we have the Peacekeeper, and the hidden ability is that it gets double magazine size. So for example, if you have a 50 round mag and you Pack-a-Punch it first, second or third time, it becomes a 100 mag. But with Pack-a-Punch tier 4, that gets doubled again, giving for example a 200 round mag. Okay, now let's take a look at the Voyak KT3. This one is interesting because at first glance it seems like there are no special bonus besides the increased damage. But let me tell you, this is not a normal damage increase. The base damage is so high, it feels like at Pack-a-Punch tier 4 this weapon is like Pack-a-Punch tier 5 or something. The DPS spikes abnormally at Pack-a-Punch tier 4, like this weapon is just a beast. Next is the X9 Maverick with the aftermarket part. Instead of reloading after every shot, weapon gets a 2 shell magazine at Pack-a-Punch tier 4. Pairing that with the critical eye on that perception, then again on that shot, and a double play plus a double caliber on double tap helps the gun regain ammo. So there's a chance you can shoot more than 2 times before needing to reload. This is similar how the Olympia worked in BO7 Zombies. So in my opinion, this is still a very small buff at Pack-a-Punch tier 4 and still kind of annoying to reload that much, but the perfect example of a very specific attachment getting your Pack 4 benefit. For SMGs we have the MP40. The MP40 is the first box exclusive legacy weapon in BO7 Zombies, and its unique Pack-a-Punch tier 4 ability is simply more ammo. It goes from 64 rounds in the mag and 320 in the reserve to still 64 in the mag but 448 in the reserve. So the mag stays the same, but the reserve ammo gets increased. It's a nice bonus because the weapon feels super strong and more ammo is always nice. The only downside is that the gun is pretty rare to get in any mode. Next, for marksman rifles, we start with the Nova line. And without a doubt, this is one of the best weapons in the game since launch, and it was also just recently buffed again. When you normally pack-a-punch the Nova line, it becomes full auto with a high fire rate and a lot of recoil. But once you upgrade it to pack-a-punch tier 4, the recoil gets completely removed. At that level, the weapon has no kickback at all, and every shot goes exactly where you are aiming. Then we have the Warden 308. At pack-a-punch tier 4, it gets an increased headshot multiplier, which means it can still one-shot zombies to the head close to round 40. Plus, the recent aftermarket part makes it dual wield, and it's just a really strong weapon that way and really fun to use. I recommend trying it out. Moving on to the snipers, the XR3 Ion is currently the best boss killer weapon in the game, especially against Dravakar and the Dark Heart. It's already very powerful at pack-a-punch, but normally it just fires a 3-round burst. Once you upgrade it to tier 4, it becomes a full auto cannon, rivaling and even outperforming almost every assault rifle in the game. The only issue is that because it has a high fire rate and it's still a sniper, you run out of ammo very quickly. Next is the Shadow SK Sniper. Similar to the Nova line, it gets no recoil at all when pack-a-punched 4 times. Since it's a wall weapon on most maps, it can come in very handy in many situations. Okay, now let's take a look at the shotguns, and let's start with the Echo 12. At pack-a-punch tier 4, this one recharges every 8 rounds instead of every 4, which is a big improvement. It makes the gun feel smooth, so smooth, because it doesn't interrupt the flow after every 4th shot. In my personal opinion, this is still not the best shotgun in the game, but this ability helps it a lot. Okay, next we have the Akita. With a dual wield, it gets a tighter pellet spread and increased damage, but if you are using the Akimbo version, the gun overheats in 40 shots instead of 30, so the pack 4 bonus is simply less overheat. But if you are still using double tap with the double time augment for increased fire rate, the weapon overheats faster. In that case, it takes 26 rounds to overheat compared to the base 22 when it's not pack-a-punched 4 times. Next is the Jaeger 45. This one gains increased damage and removes the magazine size penalty. For example, if you put on a 15 round mag, you have 15 rounds when the weapon is unpacked. But as soon as you pack-a-punch it, the game removes that and you end up with less ammo. But at pack-a-punch tier 4, you get your mag size back. It's a nice bonus, but honestly it feels like that penalty shouldn't even exist in the first place. Next I want to mention the 1911, also known as the Mustang and Sally. I'm pretty sure it gets a small increase to the AoE damage as well, so the explosion might be a bit bigger, not just stronger, but this is very hard to determine. What I can confirm is that the explosion color changed to purple with Dark Ether runes flying out of it. And well, it's super annoying, but the explosion also makes this sound you can hear right now. So yeah, I'm not sure why they added this sound, but it almost feels like trolling because it gets so annoying very fast. And finally, let's take a look at the launchers, especially one launcher, the Arc. This one gets a max size increase from 24 to 48, but if you use it with the M1 assault frame, it also gets other bonuses such as larger splash area, the ability to hit critical kills, increased fire rate and less overheat. That being said, it's still a very bad weapon. But unfortunately, that's pretty much it for this video. I really hope you find it interesting, and if you learned quite a few new things, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.